Well, hello, everyone. Jane Monreal here with you on a Monday morning, day after Easter. Hope you had a good weekend. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, and a lot of folks are taking a well-deserved vacation, spring break for a lot of people. Traffic lighter than usual. We have some of our own folks taking a well-deserved week off, and, you know, good for you. Good for you. We're all going to get ours. All right, Becca Birdsall is in the Live Impact studio right now, joining me for a check of the weather. A Monday morning. Yesterday we had the rain.
Yes.
It was very, very good. We needed a little bit of, we need a lot of it.
Yes.
We all know that. But we can certainly use a lot more, Becca. And Becca's going to hang out with me because it's only me and you. So I don't want to be, alone.
I know. Chris and I were kind of talking. Of course, this is spring break. A lot of people off. Traffic was super light, but we have such a fantastic stretch of weather for all those spring break goers. I know a lot of people are traveling. The temperatures are going to be fairly seasonable for this time of year. But yes, we did have some Easter Sunday rain. It wasn't probably the most ideal timing, but it washed away a lot of the pollen. A lot of people got a free car wash. We didn't have severe weather.
So many positives with the rain yesterday.
Yes.
It's okay.
And, you know, we had Saturday. Saturday was dry, mostly dry at least. We did have a few soakers in the evening hours, but we reached the lower 80s. So
I know it felt kind of cool and crisp this morning.
Yeah, it did.
So this is kind of where we should be for this time of year then?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we'll even be cooling down as we go into the next couple of mornings, even getting close to freezing over towards the mountains as well. So that's going to be the big story, kind of the seasonable temperatures out there. But that cold front that brought us the rain, that has swept off. So it is dry, maybe just a little bit damp out there. We're getting some breezy winds in from the west, northwest. We do have some high clouds out there. This is what's going to make for a little bit of filtered sunshine. So not totally sunny today, but that's going to keep a lid on temperatures as well. This is a look at rainfall totals from yesterday. Here we go. The colors are popping up there. Charlotte picked up a little bit over 1/4 of an inch, so around a third. Rock Hill clocking in over 1/2 an inch. That also continued between portions of Gaston and Lincoln County. But we also had some soakers Saturday night as well. So total this weekend, here in Charlotte, at least at the Charlotte Douglas Airport, picked up a half inch of rainfall. Not drought busting, but you know what? We'll take anything that we can get. There's that cold front that brought us the Easter rain yesterday. It's down to the south and east, bringing some coastal showers in. We've got a high pressure system taking over behind it. It's been a cooler morning down into the 40s. We've got a second cold front tracking through though, and this is going to push through as we go between your Tuesday and Wednesday, which is why Wednesday morning likely be the coolest out of the next 7. So right now it is completely dry across the Carolinas, but you can see that cloud coverage there, and that's what's going to kind of hang out with us throughout much of the day today. Temperatures are slowly warming up out of the 40s into the 50s now. It is 51 here in the Charlotte metro, 54 over towards Cheraw, and even starting off in the upper 30s over towards Ashimwataga counties. So certainly chilly up for the mountains. Today, mix of sunshine and clouds, partly sunny for a lot of us with highs in the middle to upper 60s. If we see a little bit more sunshine, I think most of us could be at least a little bit closer to 70 degrees, but if we see more cloud cover, we'll likely stay in the middle 60s. Otherwise, this is just a little bit cooler than average. It might feel a lot cooler than this time yesterday just because we've had so many 80-degree days. In fact, so far this year, we've had the most 80-degree days on record. We've had 15 days of them so far this year. That second spot is 12. That was most recently back in 2012. So these temperatures kind of in the middle to upper 60s, lower 70s, that is going to be much more seasonable for this time of year. And it is really hard to beat, 70 degrees and sunshine. That's pretty much what we have going forward for tomorrow and most of this week as well. So it's going to be feeling a little bit more like April with 0 rain chances going into this work week ahead. So after this cold front passes through, this is just going to reinforce the dry air. This rainfall that we got this weekend was kind of just short-term relief in terms of fire danger risk. I do think that fire danger will slowly start to increase as we get later on the week. Got dry fuels, brush and leaves. We'll have lots of dry air in place. Relative humidity values generally less than 30%. Most of us under either a severe, that's in the orange, or extreme drought, and we need almost a foot of rain in just 1 month here in Charlotte to alleviate some of that drought. If that came in 1 month, we'd have some big problems. So we just need more consistent rainfall going into the next several weeks, and just this week overall is trending very quiet and very dry as well. That is why the North Carolina Forestry Service actually sent an email today kind of confirming that their burn ban that they issued at the end of March is still going to go on until further notice, especially as those fire danger risks start to creep up later on this week. So that means active burn ban across the entire state of North Carolina. That is 100 counties. That also includes campfires, so no open burning is allowed. Cold front's going to push through. Again, that's going to bring in some cooler temperatures, especially going into your Wednesday morning, and that's just going to dry us off going towards the end of the work week as well. So tonight and early tomorrow morning, we'll be starting off in the upper 40s for a lot of us, upper 30s for the mountains, and then by the time we get into Wednesday and Thursday morning, we'll be starting off in the lower to middle 40s. Our average high for this time of year is 71, and you'll notice one day kind of doesn't look like the rest, or 2 days I should say, and that's going towards next weekend. So we will have a cool down on Wednesday, and then a big warming trend after that. We're going to be back into the middle 80s going into next weekend, so it's certainly going to be warm. So enjoy the cool weather over the next several days. If you have any plans, maybe you're headed out to the Charlotte FC match, meteorologist Chris Mulcahy did a fun little stat, and these are all their home games so far this year. So when they've had temperatures 80 degrees and above at their home game, which has been very warm so far this year, they have won. So we are forecasting more 80-degree temperatures this Saturday. So it looks like the odds are in our favor for a potential win. So it looks like Charlotte FC likes warmer weather. So we will certainly keep up to date with that. Temperatures, again, warming up into the 50s, and taking a look at that Jerry Hutt Supercenter 7-day forecast. It's a really comfortable week. Again, great week for spring breakers who maybe are traveling in and around the Carolinas. That beach forecast is also going to be fantastic as well. Temperatures kind of right where they should be for this time of year, but they are going to start to go up for next weekend, start to rise up again above that 10 to 15 degree mark going into your Saturday and Sunday. But enjoy the cooler weather for now. We've got warmer weather on the way for the weekend.
Really? Even more. So back to the cool down.
Yes.
And then going back to that great temperature.
Yes, back to the 80s.
Like it all.
I know.
Love it all. Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend, yes.
Yeah. Easter with the fam, with the husband?
With the husband. We went to church. Of course, I work Sunday morning as well.
Right.
So it was early morning.
I saw you from the gym.
Okay, great. Yes. I was tracking all the rain showers. And then after, I went to a sandwich shop. If anyone has been to La Lima.
No.
It's a Peruvian shop.
in South End?
Yes. And it is owned by the same people who own
Yunta
and Ocean.
Which I love Yunta.
Yes, I love Yunta. So,
good. They were open on Easter?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And any Rex?
So I had a steak sandwich, and it's called the Tuscan. And then my husband got a tuna tartare sandwich.
Ooh.
That was delicious. It was just fresh.
Yeah.
But I think I liked my sandwich a little bit better because it was raining and I wanted something warm.
Comforting.
Yeah, it was
That's a good
delicious
Easter lunch
yes.
for you.
What about you? Did you have a good weekend?
I had of course, I had a good weekend. Needed a reset because it's been very hectic.
Yes.
And so had a couple of days in, a lot of TV and catching up with
Love
the flicks.
that. Yes.
Yeah, so I did that. What did we watch? Mercy with Chris Pratt.
Okay.
And that was interesting because it's all about AI.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of Minority Report.
Okay.
Which is so
No, I have
old.
seen that.
And ahead of its time, I must say, because Minority Report was like, there is no way people are gonna know what you want, cater to your very likes, and that's all that the phones do now.
I've seen that on the top 10 list, and I saw it this week, and I was like, that looks interesting. But I did end up watching The Housemaid with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried.
Yes. How was that?
It was good. It was a twist that I wasn't expecting at the end.
Okay.
But, yes. So
that was good.
That was a good
I saw
Easter movie.
The trailer. I also saw, speaking of another twist of a movie, Crime 101, Halle Berry, Chris Hemsworth, and Mark
Was that
Ruffalo.
good?
It was good.
Okay.
Definitely, on the Prime, it was free. So
I saw it all.
Worth that. But just two very unattractive people doing a movie. It's terrible. All right, well, that was a good, and that's what Sundays and rainy days are good for. So
I agree.
all right, I did go to church too.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Good weekend.
just want to let the parents know.
Just want to clarify.
Do that as well. All right, Becca Birdsall, as you saw there, we are just hanging out here, just the two of us, and now you're going to leave me. You're going to leave me with all of this.
I know.
You're gonna be
an
great.
anchor
with power, with all of these buttons
one-woman
in front of her.
show.
That's the new one-woman show. That is what this tech
Yes.
is doing for us now. All right, so I'm just pressing buttons here. Look at all that. This is what I can do. All right, Becca, thank you so much.
Of course.
Appreciate you coming in here on beautiful Monday. If you do have to go to work, maybe have lunch outside. That might make you feel better, and have an Aperol spritz for. After work.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm just telling myself these are going to be my plans. All right. Thank you, Becca.
Of course.
Let's go ahead and take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to Live Impact News here on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. 9:14 is the time, and although Congress lawmakers are off for a couple of weeks, not too much happening in the way of weather. We're keeping it going because this is what we do here on Live Impact News, depending on what's happening locally, nationally, and internationally. Unfortunately, there was a homicide in North Charlotte, and our Richard Devane covered that this morning earlier on WCNC Plus from our main studio. This is what he told them earlier this morning. Play that for you now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Good morning to you, Autumn. Good morning, Ben. Good Monday morning, folks on the Plus. We'll let you take a look. It's still pretty much an active scene. We've seen officers in the last few minutes going in and out of that house right there. This is where it all happened at. We're on Cardigan Court right here in North Charlotte. This is off of Sunset Road, where police say about 2 o'clock this morning they got a 911 call, assault with a deadly weapon, and when they arrived at the scene, they found the body of a woman. That woman pronounced dead at the scene. Police launched an investigation. They've taken one person into custody. We got an update a little after 5 this morning from Major Fishback of the Mecklenburg County Police Department. Basically, he said that this was an incident where the victim knew her assailant. Take a listen.
This appears to be a familial relationship between the victim and the suspect. We are not looking for any additional suspects at this time. This does not appear to be a random case of violence, and at this point in time there appears to be no ongoing threat to the community.
And police have not released the victim's name nor the possible suspect's name, but at this time they say they're too early in their investigation to even talk about or at least give us information on how the victim, the woman, died. Of course, those are things we're working to try to find out. We'll keep giving you updates as often as we can, but right now we're right here in North Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And of course, we'll keep you updated here on the midday starting at 11:30 on WCNC Charlotte. We need to take a quick break. Back in 2 minutes on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 9:18 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Jane Monreal here with you. Running the show, man. It's a one-woman show this morning. No guests this morning. Nothing happening in the way of lawmakers. They are on a recess until April 13th. And locally, we are going to sit in dip into an event later on this morning starting at 10 o'clock. Something about the NC Quick Pass. And our producer, James Brierton, is headed that way in about 40 minutes. But for now, you know who is working? Those folks up in space, the astronauts on Artemis 2. They are on Orion. And NASA TV has their own, you can kind of dip into their feed 24 hours a day. And so we're going to see what they are doing right now up in space as they are making that trajectory around the moon. Here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
The most prominent feature. It is really just glowing bright right now.
That's beautiful, Reed. Thanks for bringing us all up there with you.
And for the science team, Pirazzo and Aristarchus have the same albedo level right now. They're the same level of brightness. And then looking down, Copernicus is just a little bit dimmer, but it's close.
And Houston integrity, just one other observation. Looking at the Terminator, it's almost a full moon from this perspective, but we got the Terminator on the western edge of the moon, about 1 Oriental diameter from Oriental, and just with our plain eyes, you can really start to see topography. There is elevation on the moon, not just variation in color, and that already makes the moon look wildly different.
Houston integrity confirming your go, no-go for this burn.
Integrity Houston, MCC has pulled go for the burn.
Integrity copies.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We just heard confirmation there that the team here in Mission Control has pulled go for the upcoming outbound trajectory correction burn 3. This burn expected to take place in about 26 minutes from now, and it will be an approximately 19-second burn using the auxiliary engines on the Orion spacecraft. There were previously 2 other outbound trajectory correction burns on flight days 3 and 4 that ended up being canceled as it was determined they were no longer needed due to the accuracy of the translunar injection burn on flight day 2. However, the team decided to go ahead and execute this outbound trajectory correction burn 3 today on flight day 5 to ensure an accurate trajectory as the spacecraft begins to make its way around the moon and back to Earth to minimize further larger trajectory corrections that may be needed on the return journey.
Integrity Houston, maneuver to burn attitude starting in about 3 minutes. Integrity Houston, we're in burn attitude.
We see the same.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We just heard that confirmation called up to the crew on board the Orion spacecraft that the spacecraft has maneuvered to the correct burn attitude in preparation for the upcoming outbound trajectory correction 3 burn scheduled to take place in about 5 minutes from now. This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. You're now seeing a live view of the Orion spacecraft, the exterior of the spacecraft, as we are about 2 minutes out from the upcoming outbound trajectory correction 3 burn. That burn is expected to last about 19 seconds, taking place around 10:03 p.m. Central, 11:03 p.m. Eastern Time. This burn will fine-tune the trajectory of the Orion spacecraft to ensure it stays on target for its journey around the moon and back. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are about 30 seconds away from the time of ignition for the outbound trajectory correction burn. That is when the auxiliary thrusters on the Orion spacecraft service module will begin firing to complete the outbound trajectory correction burn and fine-tune its trajectory. And we have confirmation that that outbound trajectory correction burn is now underway. And we now have confirmation that that burn has completed. Again, that was an approximately 19-second burn using the auxiliary thrusters on the Orion spacecraft service module. That burn completed at 10:03 p.m. Central Time, 11:03 p.m. Eastern Time to further fine-tune the Orion spacecraft's trajectory as it continues to make its way around the moon, and it was a good burn.
Integrity Houston, good burn. We are assessing the details.
Good news, and we see the same. Thanks, Mark. Great to finally do a burn.
I know. It's a nice, beautiful little burn, too. Hey, be advised we are maneuvering for opportunistic science, and you would need to configure your D5 and Z9 cameras for that, like yesterday.
We are tracking and looking forward to it very much. We had a gorgeous view of a very big moon right out of window 2 during that burn. Well, right before the burn, before we maneuvered. It was awesome.
And looks like we'll be back at window 2 for this as well.
This is Artemis Mission Control. About 7 minutes ago, the Orion spacecraft executed the outbound trajectory correction 3 burn to fine-tune the trajectory of the Orion spacecraft as it continues to make its way around the moon, with that lunar flyby planned for tomorrow on flight day 6. Now that that outbound trajectory correction burn is complete, teams will be maneuvering the Orion spacecraft into an attitude to be able to capture some opportunistic imaging of the moon.
You are watching live right now, NASA TV, their live coverage of the crew out on the Orion on the Artemis II mission on this 4th day since the launch successfully from Cape Canaveral, now making that trajectory out towards the moon. What a beautiful sight it is as they're talking from the command center in Houston over to the folks on board, 4 astronauts on the Orion. So very exciting time, but it is fun to listen to, very entertaining as we listen to some of their procedures right now. But it looks like they are silent for now. So let's go ahead and take a quick 2-minute break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll continue that coverage on Artemis 2 on Live Impact News. Time right now is 9:30 back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. A Monday morning. A lot of you have the week off. Traffic much lighter than usual, and good for you. We are also kind of light in the way of what's happening around the world and certainly around the Carolinas. Right now, no press conferences are planned. There is an event coming up at 10 o'clock, which we'll get to hear live on the NC Quick Pass and other headlines that we're covering. A homicide involving a familial relationship in North Charlotte that our Richard Devane is covering this morning. And he'll have the latest on WCNC Charlotte starting at 11:30. Our federal lawmakers, as well as our state lawmakers, are on a recess, and that means the DHS shutdown as far as putting a vote together will have to wait, or whatever comes out of it, waiting until April 13th when the session concludes. We did have the opening bell, though, at Wall Street, and right now it looks like starting out in the red, starting out just minus 38 on the New York Stock Exchange. We are also covering for you on this fourth day after Artemis II launch from Cape Canaveral, the crew on board the Orion and their in-circuit coverage, if you will, between the crew at Command Center in Houston, at Cape Canaveral there, and the folks on board, the 4 astronauts making that loop around the moon. Let's go ahead and continue to listen in here now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
And that lunar flyby period is going to be happening in about 9.5 hours and counting. The lunar observations for this mission are from a higher vantage point that are a little bit farther than Apollo's lunar orbits. On average, astronauts can observe both poles and large-scale geologic features in a single view. So depending on the illumination conditions, Artemis II astronauts will become the first humans to directly observe a certain far side of the moon regions with unaided eyes. The human eyes are trained and remain one of the most powerful scientific tools NASA can send to space. During Artemis II, astronauts have been able to quickly survey wide areas and adjust their focus in real time, describe relationships between features, capabilities that cameras and instruments alone cannot replicate. The crew observed the same regions that we're going to see a little bit later today multiple times under changing lighting conditions during a single flyby, so they're getting perspectives that would take robotic missions years to accumulate. The audio descriptions that you'll hear later today, the situational reports, are what we call sit reps, and crew annotations will provide essential context that enhances the scientific value of imagery. There are about 30 targets included. They're tied to past robotic missions, current science priorities, and future exploration sites, including regions near the lunar South Pole considered for future Artemis missions, and observing how surface features such as lighting evolves that allows scientists to better understand color, albedo, texture, morphology, and other key information for interpreting orbital and surface data. Currently, you are seeing live views from one of Orion's solar arrays. We see the moon right there in the distance. The solar arrays are currently focused on the vehicle, and that is looking up at the service module of the Orion spacecraft. And as we get closer and closer to the moon, those solar arrays will move out just slightly to focus more on the moon. We'll continue to provide you with live 24/7 coverage of the Artemis II mission. For now, this is Mission Control Houston.
All right, looks like radio silence right now. Back to Artemis 2, the mission out there in space on this fourth day since the launch out of Cape Canaveral, Florida. This is the in-circuit TV for NASA TV as we get the privilege, and it's kind of cool to just sort of listen to what's happening in real time as the crew and command center work together doing those next steps to make its way around the moon and almost to the halfway point for their mission as we continue to monitor things and enter that lunar sphere of influence. That's what they're calling it, the milestone for Artemis 2 for the Orion spacecraft and its crew. That's the moon's gravitational pull, now stronger than Earth. So that is what's going to start that trajectory around the moon. Pretty scientific, isn't it? All right, let's go ahead and take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now, 9:39 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We continue to peek into the mission, Artemis 2 mission on this fourth day as the Orion makes its way, beginning that trajectory, the entering loop around the moon as we enter that halfway point in its 10-day mission with our 4 astronauts up there in space. We continue to listen in now here. It might be silent at times. That's when the command center, they just sort of wait for that next phase for the crew on board to do their steps. And then right now we are listening in on radio silence, but it is live. And so let's go ahead and still dip into this anyway for Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right. Although that does make for a good screensaver, it certainly doesn't make for a good stream, does it? All right. So this is what we're going to do. I think it's worth repeating the interview I had with Dr. Atkinson from Novant Health. This is on spring break health tips because a lot of families are obviously on vacation this week. And if you want to stay safe, keep healthy, hopefully these tips will help you out. Let's play this for you now here on Live Impact News. At 9:15 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Spring break is upon us on this Friday. A lot of people have taken yesterday, today off, and that's why we're seeing lighter than normal conditions out there for your commute. But for millions of Americans, that's going to mean travelers, airports, road trips, beach destinations, you name it. But before you pack your bags, there are a few health precautions you should know about. Joining us on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus is Dr. Alexander Atkinson from Novant Health. Doctor, thanks for joining us here this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so what is happening around right now? What's circulating and what should we most be worried about right now?
Right now, we're pretty good in numbers. We're not seeing a ton of COVID, flu, RSV, but those still are kind of the bigger players. You know, there's hundreds of viruses out there, so there's always something circulating, and we don't always do the testing to identify exactly what it is. And then we're also seeing a fair amount of probably norovirus that's causing a GI bug, basically some diarrhea and vomiting. So a little bit of face stuff and then a little bit of GI stuff.
All right, so knowing that that is out there a little bit, what are the important things that people should know to protect themselves before they get to the airport or on a plane?
Yeah, so prevention's always better than a cure, right? So we want to make sure we're washing our hands, soap and water, hand sanitizer. So if you're traveling and going to be in public areas, make sure you have some hand sanitizer. That's going to be the best thing for you. Try not to touch your face too much, and then don't touch straws or things like that. So trying to just good hygiene there. If you're immunocompromised or if you're going to be in a very crowded area, not a terrible idea to still wear a mask. I usually do wear a mask myself if I'm going to be in an airport, especially during busy times. So simple things like that, just to kind of keep the bugs away from you, is going to be the best bet.
Why is it important to stay hydrated? I mean, every day, but particularly when you travel.
Well, so with travel, especially with air travel, when you go up in the airplanes, the air is very dry, so that dehydrates you. So you're going to be more dehydrated or have a higher water demand than normal. Probably won't have as much of a water demand if you're just driving, 2 or 3 hours staying in a similar elevation. But if you're going to change elevations, then you get dehydrated as well from that. So that's important. But just in general, you want to stay well hydrated. That's important for your kidneys, important for your immune system, and things like that.
Absolutely. And let's talk about vaccines. If people do have time to get a vaccine before they travel next week, what should be on their list?
I always recommend whatever the guideline recommended vaccines are. An important one to think about that sometimes people forget about, especially adults, is their tetanus shot. Tetanus actually protects you from pertussis and diphtheria, both of which live out in the community. We can't completely eradicate it, so important to think about that, and pertussis being whooping cough. So sometimes if you have kids in school and you get that letter that says there's been a case of pertussis or whooping cough, be on the lookout. Tetanus really protects against that, but there's other ones like RSV vaccines, pneumonia shots, flu shots, and things like that you should make sure if you qualify for them, you should stay up to date on those.
What a great reminder, because I just had my physical last week and he told me to get my tetanus shot. So thank you for that. I'm going to schedule that. As far as packing, obviously you want your own prescribed medicines, but what else should we be thinking of, doctor?
Yeah, so your own medicines. If you have an allergy and you need an EpiPen, don't forget your EpiPen. That's never a fun experience to need it and you don't have it. I usually tell people, depending on where you're traveling, right? If you're going camping and you're going to be out in the woods, you probably need a bigger first aid kit than someone that's traveling to Atlanta and is going to be in a hotel next to a Walgreens where they can go buy what they need. But I usually tell people, let's make sure we pack things like allergy medicine like Zyrtec or Claritin, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, so a little pain medicine if you take melatonin to help you sleep. So those types of things you want to make sure you pack, some alcohol swabs, Band-Aids, basic first aid things. So at least kind of the basics, and then depending on where you're going, how many people you're with, and your other health concerns, you kind of expand the first aid kit from there.
Mm-hmm. Certainly nobody wants to go to the hospital or emergency room while they're on vacation. However, sometimes you have to, right? So, Doctor, when does someone stop trying to push through whatever they're going through and then just go to the medical professionals?
Yeah, I would say if If you would go to the doctor when you're at home, that would be kind of a good sign that maybe I do need to go to an urgent care, an emergency room. Obviously, if you have something life-threatening or you're very sick, you should go to the emergency room. If it's just like I've got some sniffles or I've got a few symptoms, I don't seem to be getting better, I'm worried, if you have a good primary care doctor that you have a good relationship with, you could always reach out to them and say, hey, is this something I can wait? Do you have any advice? Do I need to go get seen? Things like that. So you kind of have to make a judgment call on, can I get some advice and wait for the advice, or do I need to be seen now to kind of get an answer and get some treatment?
That's when that concierge medicine comes in handy, which I don't have. But anything else? You know what? How about coming back home sick? Do you stay home for a while? Again, do you just push through and tough it out?
I would say use your same judgment that you would use if you got sick any other time. The important thing is we don't want to be spreading this because that's how you got it. So if you got it from someone else and then you go to work and you give it to all of your customers, clients, or other coworkers, well, you just kind of spread the joy. So if you can stay home, that's better. If you absolutely can't, there's always going to be, other things we have to consider besides just medical advice, right? So washing your hands, wearing a mask, asking people to stay away from you if you can. But I do worry about people that, are more customer facing, food service facing. Please, follow Department of Health Services guidelines. If you're sick, don't go to work and spread it to all your customers.
Right. And please wash your hands when you leave the restroom. That goes for everybody, right? For those who are lucky enough to go to a beach or a resort, Dr. Atkinson, I know we hear about sunscreen, but what are the basics? What are the rules?
Oh, yeah. It's a big topic, but let's go through some basics. So first, 6 months and up is usually what I say for babies before we start putting sunscreen. And we want to patch test on any kids, any new products, and even year to year, you may want to patch test. So just a small quarter size area on the thigh or the low back, not on the face. See if they have a reaction. So we should be doing that before we get to vacation so that we know which products are going to work well for us. You want to be careful with which products we put near the face. We don't want to cause eye irritation. My preference is a mineral-based sunscreen over a chemical-based sunscreen. Those have like titanium or zinc dioxide. They reflect the sun instead of taking the UV and kind of absorbing it. The issue there is they tend to wash off faster. They're a little thicker and need that kind of white smearing. So some people don't like that, but that would be my preference, is the mineral-based sunscreen. Those are also the ones that are considered safe for like reefs and things like that.
All right, very good. Anything else that we should know about before we head off out there in the yonder?
Well, just be safe. It's important to remember that, especially in the younger populations, it's not usually medical problems that end up in people having severe disabilities or deaths. It's accidents. So seatbelts in those cars. If you're going to be riding bikes, if you're renting bikes on your vacation or scooters, put a helmet on. Don't get on them if you don't have a helmet. Making smart choices like that.
Smart choices bring you back home safe. All right. Thank you, Dr. Alexander Atkinson from Novant Health. Appreciate the time and great reminders for the spring break vacation for everybody. All right. Enjoy, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks.
Good reminders, good information, and I still need to schedule my tetanus shot. All right. We're going to come right back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, folks, time right now is 9:32 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Forgive the delay there. I was just pulling in a package earlier that happened that was filed for NBC News here on WCNC Plus. As you might have known and heard that a fighter jet was shot down over Iran last Friday. They were trying to find the second pilot on that fighter jet. NBC's Chris Pallone has the details now with the latest on NBC News, again on WCNC Plus.
The Pentagon says the second crew member of an American F-15 shot down in Iran Friday is now safe after a daring rescue deep in Iranian territory over the weekend. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle praising the dangerous but successful mission.
Well, I'm thankful that a second U.S. airman has been rescued heroically by our special forces.
It speaks to the courage, the bravery, and the commitment to service of our armed forces.
But that's where the agreement ends as the U.S. and Israel continue to bombard Iranian targets, and Iran fires back at Israel and other U.S. allies in the region. President Trump ramping up pressure on the Iranian regime in an expletive-laden Easter Sunday social media post, threatening to target the country's power plants and bridges if Iran doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which 20% of the world's oil passes each year. Iran saying the strait will never return to its former state and promising to respond in kind.
Our armed forces would target any similar infrastructure that is owned or in any way or manner related to the United States.
President Trump has given mixed messages on when the war will end and whether he plans to send American troops into Iran.
It's in their interest to try to make a deal before the consequences rain down on them.
Democrats accuse the president of not knowing what he was getting into.
Now, Iran recognizes that, in fact, their control over the strait is even more strategically vital to them than the development of a nuclear weapon. And that is why strategically this war has been a failure.
So far, U.S. allies have resisted President Trump's calls to help secure the Strait of Hormuz so normal shipping can resume. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
All right, it sounds like the NASA crew and the home base crew, as they have this in-circuit communication that's available to us happening in real time, they are back up and running and talking to each other. Let's go ahead and listen in now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Sun is about the same size whenever it's eclipsed by the moon, and so by that I mean we see like the whole solar corona that kind of peeks out, that ring that we see. If folks have been able to experience that here on Earth, the integrity crew is going to be much closer to the moon at that time, so they're going to see the sun as a small disk disappear behind the moon for about that 50 minutes period, and then pop back out 50 minutes later, and so they have more of a time to enjoy the sun setting and the sun rising. But they also, the unique part of that is, they'll be able to observe the moon during that time with the sun out of view, and so we have some unique targets that we're also looking forward to them capturing during that time.
That's fantastic. And as you're speaking, I'm realizing it is April 2026, and in April 2024 was when we in North America here experienced that total eclipse that took place where we had to wear specific protective eyewear, and we saw that corona that you described. Will the crew have to wear anything protective as they're experiencing the eclipse? Will they have to roll up their windows? How does that work?
Yeah, we do have some protective eyewear, much like what folks wore for some of the Earth eclipse, and so they'll be using that just to make sure that we're eye safe during those times when Earth is setting and when Earth is rising. And then as soon as it peaks behind or goes behind the moon and peaks back out when it starts to rise again, they'll be making these incredible observations that we're super excited about.
I can't wait for all of these pictures to come down so we can share them with all of you watching. You talked about Earth rise, Earth set, and Earth rise. So I described a little bit about what Earth rise is. So just for everybody watching, Earth set, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that'll be actually, of all these, sun set sunrise, or sorry, the Earth set, sorry, this is confused. The Earth set will be happening first. And so
got it.
They'll be during that 4th observational period. The Earth set will be kind of peeking, it'll come, the Earth will show up in their window, come across their window, and then we'll see it go behind the moon. So I know the team, the SIR, the science evaluation room, is really excited about that time. I think it's going to hit everybody in a emotionally a little bit different way. But yeah, super excited of when that happens. And like I said, that'll be the first thing of all these Earth sunrise sets that will happen.
So I cannot wait again for the photos. You mentioned the SIR. Those of us that are sitting in this room have several back rooms that are supporting us. Tell us about the SIR.
Yeah, the Science Evaluation Room, or the SIR, is something new for Artemis missions, and so it parallels a little bit of what they did in Apollo, and it's an incredible facility, and more importantly, an incredible team that is so excited for today. So they will be doing a lot of activities in support of the front room position here, and they'll be then crunching all this data in a very fast way to be able to have a great crew conference on Flight Day 7 and get some of the information that may be timely back from the crew before they land on, splash down on Flight Day 10.
So a large team supporting you here on console, and then we have Kelsey Young coming on for Orbit 1 and Angela Garcia for Orbit 2, along with a large team that's going to be watching, cheering you on. We can't wait to see the SIR. We'll have views in the SIR just like we have here in Mission Control. Trevor, good luck today. I'm not going to congratulate you until after the fact, but just really exciting to be here on the heels of Flight Day 6. So we'll continue to provide you live coverage of that lunar flyby that's coming up. I'm just looking at my board in just under 9 hours, or just over 9 hours from now. As mentioned, we are at a mission elapsed time of 4 days, 15 hours, 24 minutes, and counting. And this is Mission Control Houston, where we will continue to provide you live 24/7 coverage.
Here, top of the hour, every once in a while, the folks there at NASA at the command center in Houston wait for the next step from the Artemis 2 crew. But as we monitor things there live in space, we'll go in and out of their feed. Again, hearing that loop around the moon is going to happen here in about 9 hours, or at least the start of it. We'll take a break here, top of the hour at 10 o'clock on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Time right now is 10:02 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. If you missed it, Friday, Ben Crump, the civil rights attorney, was in Jacksonville, Florida, speaking for the family, now accusing the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office of fostering a pattern of excessive force. We're going to play, at least start to play, part of this previously recorded press conference that happened. We'll get you caught up with the case here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
We have Deshaun Williams, the young man who we have seen in the video, and I think everybody, not just in Jacksonville, Attorney Daniels, but everybody across America, Pastor McKee, Dr. Newman, they have seen this video of this young man, and don't take Ben Crump's word for it. Watch the video for yourself. I mean, he doesn't resist. He complies. And that what they say to the hill, just comply. Well, he complies. Mr. Milker, he complies. And yet, they have him on the ground face down, and they kick him repeatedly while he's face down. Not a threat to anyone. And then they punch him at least 6 to 7 times, kick him at least 3 times, breaks his jaw, causes him to vomit, causes him to have a puddle of blood under his face. And this is a person who is complying. The police cannot be the ones who break the law if they want to be the example of how to uphold the law. We don't need outlaws. What we need is law enforcement who respect the Constitution. So you're going to hear from his mother, but also Attorney Daniels and Alfonso McClendon, my investigator, was showing me another video that is equally disturbing. The video of Travis Brinkley that has been released to some of you today. And you see the exact same pattern and practice of brutality at the hands of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office deputies. I mean, you have Mr. Brinkley, who is unarmed and complying, and the officer just unloads on him, punch after punch after punch after punch after punch, while he is face down, knocks his tooth out of his mouth. I could see if there was evidence on the video where somebody's life was in danger, where there was a threat, but Deshaun Williams was unarmed, Travis Brinkley was unarmed, and you all know William McNeil was unarmed, a college student who they busted his window. And so we have Exhibit A, B, and C. Jacksonville, how many more exhibits do you have to see before you say we will not allow the sheriff's office to engage in excessive force? We will not allow the sheriff's office to violate the Constitution against our citizens. We will not allow the sheriff's department to have a pattern and practice of excessive brutality against black citizens. How long, Jacksonville? How many more exhibits, Jacksonville? I know that you see the videos. Don't turn away. Ask for accountability. In fact, demand accountability. You have that right to say that we expect our law enforcement community to be able to build trust with the community. It starts with transparency, but you must have accountability, and that is the only way you get to trust. And again, You don't have to say no more. Just everybody watch the video. Just watch the video. Watch the video. Don't take our word for it. They try to say that Attorney Daniels, Attorney Robinson, and I are exaggerating. Watch the video. And imagine if that was your child, if that was your loved one, if that was you. But by the grace of God, it could be so many citizens in Jacksonville. You say, oh, well, it's not my family. Well, Senator Hill, I tell them, keep walking and driving and breathing in Jacksonville.
All right now we're going to put a pin in that previously recorded press conference, because happening right now, we're going to stay in Florida with Congressman woman Wasserman Schultz. She is talking about gas prices, holding this live press conference right now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Let's listen in.
Flow from the same region that's now engulfed in war, and all those inflationary factors are coming for your wallets in the months ahead. But don't think you can stay inside and home deliver your way out of this. Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and USPS are all adopting surcharges to deal with high fuel costs. And guess whose families will pay for that new Trump tax on every package that's delivered to our door? All of us. That price hike will hit all of us, because I don't know anyone who can subsist on their family budget and saving time without having things delivered to save time and money. And I know that this looks bleak, but we're not powerless. First, you need to register to vote and hold all the politicians accountable who won't stand up to end this high-cost chaos. And I'm raising each of our voices like this today to make sure that everyone knows that. I'm also going to go to Washington to demand solutions. One thing that I want us to look at is a gas tax holiday. I'll also demand the Justice Department investigate price gougers and oil companies who pad their profits instead of stepping up production. Ironically, the big winners in all of this so far are oil companies and gas producers like Russia, and ironically Iran, who now pocket higher prices for every barrel they sell. Trump even gave Iran a $14 billion oil sanctions windfall last month when he lifted oil sanctions on Iran while we're at war with them, which will flow to them and allow them to continue their dangerous terrorist activity and also ease the economic pressure. Think of it. This gas crisis is so bad, Trump is funding the enemy we're at war with. It is insane. And we need sane solutions. So I'll explore any gas windfall profit tax to help offset costs that this will have on our families and our transportation system. And finally, Trump needs to end his war on electric vehicles and alternative energy sources. The more that Americans rely on dirty fuels, the more we'll always get stuck in this costly, oily muck that we're in right now. But the gas price pain families and small businesses feel is taking place right now. It happens every night around the kitchen tables and before the next long haul. It squeezes struggling entrepreneurs on paychecks and payrolls at restaurants or florists, and it's an anxiety that just ratchets higher for all of us as that needle edges closer to E on our gas tanks. And this gas price pickle is just one more inflationary fear we all carry around with us every day. One constituent told me he can't afford to drive or fly for a vacation because of fuel prices. But he also faces high utilities, so he can't afford to stay home all summer either and run up his electric bill because he's home using things that he might be using less of when he's away. I want you to hear from people who feel similar pinches in their family and business budget, and then we'll take some questions. First, I'm going to ask Josh Zivelich, from the Teamsters Local 769, about what high gas costs mean for his members. Josh?
Thank you, Congresswoman.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak on this important topic. The high fuel costs are really a disaster for our members. We represent over 11,000 members in Teamsters Local 769 throughout the state of Florida, and over 45,000 in Teamsters Joint Council 75, which is Georgia and Florida. in many different sectors, transportation primarily. Package delivery, food distribution, airlines, all of those industries are very strongly affected when it comes to the pricing of the delivery of products. Obviously, that's going to affect the consumers, and it also affects our members, of course, because our members experience those higher prices with home insurance going through the roof. Grocery prices are obviously higher. A large part of that is the delivery of such. Obviously, gas affects everything, and it affects working families even harder than anybody else. It's obviously billionaires and very wealthy people are shielded from these costs, but they're also going to be exposed to it. It just has much greater impact on working families throughout the nation, not just in South Florida. So I know that Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz has been a good friend of working families through the years. I know she believes one of the potential answers is a higher minimum wage, and we definitely are in support of that. So the Teamsters are absolutely feeling this crunch, whether they're rank and file members in the airline industry, with UPS, with food distribution. It's a serious problem, and something needs to be done about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you.
Where do you want it?
Or they could just move in front of the mic.
Yeah, just move right in front of them.
No, let them move in front of them.
We need the podium.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. You'll hear him now.
There we go.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much, Josh. Next, we'll ask Julie Prey, a small business owner who travels the Tri-County area, to come to the podium. She'll share how the high cost of gas is cutting into her profits. Julie?
Thank you, Congresswoman, for giving me the opportunity. I've been a self-taught artist my whole life, and I decided to start my artistic emporium business, very small, just flower arrangements, events, in December. They ordered 3 flower arrangements just a few weeks ago. I went to my wholesaler with the gas prices being the way they are, and I spent $400 in flowers. And on top of that, I have to drive to Miami, back and forth, and then I had to deliver the flowers. It ate up all my profit. So I have not posted anymore on Instagram. Unfortunately, my company has lasted 4 months, and that's it. I'm not taking any more orders, and I'm really sad about it, and it's all because of these high gas prices. Thank you.
Wow, Julie, so you're not even able to stay in business?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
That's just terrible. I mean, this is an economy where people need to be able to use their skills like Julie has to sustain themselves, to enhance their life. A lot of people are stringing multiple jobs together, and it not only deprives Julie, these high gas prices, not only deprive Julie of a source of income, but it makes everything else more expensive when more affordable businesses go out of business. So that's heartbreaking, Julie. I hope that we can make sure
it's sad.
That we do something about these high prices very soon so we can get you back in business.
Thank you.
Next up is Andy Matz, who is with the Teamsters Union as well as the president of the Broward County AFL-CIO. Andy?
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
So this morning, I just thought I'd bring a little prop with me. I paid $4.29 for a gallon of gas this morning, and it is obvious that this crisis is now impacting working families like President Zivulich stated. I'm out there every day with working folks, and they are conveying to me they're being crushed by this. You know, this is like death by 1,000 cuts. On top of gas, you had tariffs, then you had the one big beautiful bill that basically made people's health care less affordable, and we're not going in the right direction. People who I know who own businesses, they're telling me their businesses have been down over the last month due to the fact that gas prices are up, and it's just crushing working families throughout. And I'm just, we're working really hard right now to work with our members to figure out ways to move them forward. But I want to take the opportunity to thank Debbie and everything that she does, because this is a real issue, and I don't think it's going to get any better until this war actually comes to a close, because working families right now are really struggling, and we're going to continue to fight with Debbie to help working class people try to make their lives more affordable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy. And last but not least, I want to ask Carrie Barter, a constituent of mine who lives in Weston. She is a private music teacher, and gas prices have forced her to give up some of her students that are located further away from where she lives. Carrie?
Thank you, Congresswoman. We really appreciate the opportunity to speak about this. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carrie Barter. I am a mother of 3, and I'm also a music teacher. I teach private guitar and piano lessons for the last 2 decades. I'm located in the Bonaventure section of Weston, and unfortunately, I've had to give up any of my students that are outside of a 5-mile vicinity because I have to charge my rate based upon my travel costs. So unfortunately, it's become unrealistic for some of my students to pay the type of cost that they would have to continue with me for my traveling. So I'm limited now to only a few students that are located within a small vicinity of where I live. So as soon as we can get our gas prices back, hopefully I'll be able to gain my students back. I miss them all very much. They're all wonderful children. But unfortunately, we are a low-income family that struggles. We've never quite recovered after Corona, and we're just doing our best to get by. 2 of my children also are in therapy, and we've had to give up therapy as well. So it's very difficult. So we truly appreciate Congresswoman, and we appreciate all that you do for our communities. It really means a lot to us. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today, and I have all my faith that she will help something, come good of this. So we appreciate you. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Thank you. Carrie, I want to just ask you, so I know you take your kids to therapy sessions because they're special needs.
Yes.
And is the reason that you are having to limit or not even take them is because of the cost of gas?
Correct.
To take them back and forth?
Unfortunately, yes. We've had to limit our therapy sessions. We're on Medicaid, so we don't have a lot of local, doctors and things that accept what we have that are close to us. So we have to travel usually a lot farther to go to our sessions. So it's been a little bit tricky. So we're doing the best we can to get them to what we can for now. So
oh my gosh.
We're just going to keep trying. So.
Listen, we're going to continue to fight by your side to make sure that we can get this addressed. Listen, if you have special needs kids, they have to go to their therapy appointments. At a young age, that is the difference between being able to make sure that you can progress through your life and be able to be integrated and mainstreamed into the society. In school, in after-school activities, when you are looking for a job, and when you can't do that at the earliest stages of life, it absolutely impacts kids, and that it is unacceptable that gas prices are so high that people like Carrie have to limit the ability for their children to progress because she can't afford the gas to take them to those appointments. This has to stop. This is ridiculous. Trump's economy has nailed people's kitchen table costs, and we've got to come together to make sure that we can get these prices that have been driven up, not just because of the war in Iran, but because of Trump's tariff taxes, because of the policies that he's adopted. Inflation across all kinds of kitchen table costs, as I mentioned, have exploded, and we just have to bring this to an end. And we can come together in a bipartisan way to work together, not only to make sure that we have an understanding of the objectives and goals in the war, so that we can bring that conflict to an end that ensures the safety that particularly in the region and protect our national security interests. But most importantly, I'm concerned about protecting the economic interests of my constituents. And I want to just do a couple of words in Spanish, and then I'm happy to take your questions. Los altos precios de la gasolina de Trump perjudican a nuestras familias. Estoy luchando para reducir los costos de la
while she goes ahead and interprets her message there in Spanish, we'll take a quick break and return in time for the media question and answer part. Press conference happening live in South Florida on gas prices, obviously affecting the whole country as we continue live coverage here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back in 2. Welcome back to Live Impact News here at 1024. I'm Jane Monreal. We continue to listen in live to a press conference happening out of South Florida. This is from Representative Wasserman Schultz, who represents that area, talking about gas prices, and she is now taking questions from local media. Let's listen in live.
Prices are set. They're set on the global economic scheme of things. Gas prices are set. They're a commodity. They are set by OPEC and the price of a barrel of oil. And it isn't just that we're an exporter of oil, so our prices are set separately from prices of oil on the market. It's a market-driven cost, and whether it's our oil or the oil that is produced elsewhere, Venezuela or in the Middle East, it is a market-based price. And with the war in Iran, the oil production has decreased overall, and as a result, the price is higher. I mean, that's basic economics, and a misunderstanding on the president's part. Or if not a misunderstanding, he is not being truthful with the American people about what the truth.
I think a lot of people ask that question. They hear, we're making so much oil, we have it here, why are we subjected to it?
Yeah, well, they're asking that question because the president keeps saying that, we're immune from cost increases. Well, these cost increases are the result of gas prices being set by the market-based price of oil in the global market.
President Trump is expected to speak at a press conference this afternoon. What do you expect to come out of this? I'm sure you saw what he posted on Truth Social yesterday.
I did.
Warning,
right.
Another deadline. What do you expect to come out of this?
The president has been erratic and all over the place. The chaos has been breathtaking. So, tomorrow is supposed to be yet another deadline that, every other deadline that he's set, he's pulled back from. First he says that it doesn't matter. Last week he said it doesn't matter if the Strait of Hormuz is closed because we produce our own oil and it's not going to affect us. Certainly is affecting us when you hear from consumers and business owners like we did this morning and that I'm getting incoming in my office from. And this week, and then yesterday, he uses the most unhinged messaging to demand that Iran open the Strait of Hormuz. Which is it? Is it important or is it not important? Are we going to bomb the hell out of them, or are we going to be in a ceasefire negotiations? Literally every other day, you have something insane coming out of this president's mouth. We can't trust what he says. He does not have his hand firmly on the tiller of this country. He is really upending people's household budgets. He's killing the cost of gas, food, energy prices. People's utility bills are skyrocketing, healthcare costs. This is insane. Stop the ride. We want to get off. So we can all make sure what we have to do is come together in a bipartisan way on this war and the conduct of it, on how we're going to get a handle on people's everyday kitchen table costs. We need to make sure that we reenact the Affordable Care Act enhanced premium tax credits so that my constituents aren't facing explosive increases in their health care costs, all caused by Donald Trump and Republicans. So it does not have to be this way. I know Democrats have been ready to sit at the table. We proposed multiple different kinds of solutions and compromise, and they've all been rejected because most Republicans are afraid of Donald Trump coming after them and them losing their re-election. You can't be afraid. You have to stand up for what you believe in, and you have to stand up for the people you represent, and that's what I'm doing here today. Any other questions?
Is there any Spanish speaker in the group?
Any Spanish speaker?
Maybe we can do a separate interview.
Okay.
Oh, you want to do it off to the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, we're done. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I will go back to Washington next week and make sure that I continue to fight to bring prices overall down, but particularly work together in a bipartisan way to find solutions to reducing the cost of gas. But that's clearly not going to be done in a significant way until we get some certainty and a clear path about this war in Iran. Thank you all so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Although Congress in a 2-week recess until next week, you saw there a live press conference from Representative Wasserman Schultz in South Florida and Pembroke Pines talking about gas prices for not only Florida, but of course affecting most of the whole country with these gas prices. I want to go ahead. Let's do this together in real time because First Lady Melania Trump is hosting an Easter egg roll. They roll it down the hill there in front of the White House. This is happening live right now. We expect speakers, including the First Lady, as microphones are set up there, but we can hear the band and a lot of folks are beginning to set up. They're supposed to start at 10:30. Let's go ahead and listen in, see if there is anything worth keeping an ear out for on Live Impact News. You're looking at a live picture at the White House, waiting for the First Lady to start things off here. At 10:30 is when the Easter egg roll is supposed to commence, as we are dealing with the pre-pomp and circumstance of the event. We continue to listen in and watch for the First Lady, and we'll give it a couple more minutes here. All right, we'll let that play out for the music and take a break here. Maybe in 2 minutes, we'll see things start at the White House with the day after Easter egg roll for the kids on the White House lawn. We'll be right back. At 10:34, welcome back into Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I want to bring you back out to the White House lawn where the First Lady is set to make remarks and get things underway for the day after Easter egg roll. Again, on the White House lawn, let's listen in on Live Impact News. Looks like a beautiful day there in Washington, D.C. at our nation's capital, awaiting the First Lady to step out on the balcony. In the meantime, it sounds like the astronauts are back at it with Artemis 2. Of course, they're into their fourth day of the mission with the loop around the moon. Our 4 American astronauts there on the Orion with a live picture right now. And we at times have listened in onto their in-circuit TV, if you will, as the command center in Houston talks to the crew on board, and it looks like they are communicating again. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Good morning from Mission Control Houston here in the Artemis Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center. We are coming to you live with our 24/7 continuous coverage of the Artemis 2 mission. The crew is currently in their sleep period aboard the Orion spacecraft named Integrity. At a mission elapsed time of 4 days, 16 hours, and 1 minute, we are getting closer and closer to the moon than we are to Earth. We are currently about 244,000 miles and counting from Earth and about 19,000 miles away from the moon. There are a couple of milestones that I wish to share with the group this morning. First off, we will be passing our Apollo 13 distance record. That's the furthest humans have traveled away from Earth. That is scheduled to take place today at a mission elapsed time of 5 days, 30 minutes. Integrity will reach a max distance from Earth of 252,021 statute miles. This will surpass the Apollo 13 distance record by 3,366 statute miles. Integrity's currently on a trajectory that will carry it to the closest approach to the moon of 4,070 statute miles. That's the closest the vehicle will get to the moon. In addition to that, the spacecraft will be traveling at a speed of 60,863 miles relative to Earth, but that's just a little bit different because we are actually in the lunar sphere of influence, and the vehicle is being pulled by the moon's gravitational pull. So that velocity is actually reduced since Orion is in that sphere of influence. This means that Orion will be traveling only at 3,139 miles an hour relative to the moon. Once we complete the lunar flyby today, we will depart the lunar sphere of influence, which will take place tomorrow, and we will be captured by Earth's gravitational pull. Essentially, what that means is that as that pull gets stronger and stronger during our return to Earth, this will speed up the vehicle to make us swing around the moon and head back home and splash down off the coast of the Pacific. We'll continue to provide live updates for you here from Mission Control. The crew is scheduled to wake up from their sleep period in about 11 minutes and counting. For now, this is Mission Control Houston.
As you just heard, the Artemis II crew currently sleeping, and in about less than 11 minutes, they'll be waking up, getting ready for the first part of their next day out there in space, and a very exciting countdown to that trajectory and loop around the moon, the beginning of that journey in space. We are going to take a quick break here as we await First Lady at the White House to make some opening remarks for what should be a fun event, the Easter egg roll there on the White House lawn. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:41 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Our morning weekend anchor, Autumn Bracey, did an interview, an important one at that, to talk about Alcohol Awareness Month. We're going to play this for you now if you missed it over the weekend here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
April is Alcohol Awareness Month, which is a time to shed light on alcohol use and the barriers that keep people from getting help. New research from Harris Poll finds nearly half of those with alcohol use disorder aren't getting diagnosed until a crisis. And so joining us now this morning is Dr. Joseph Vosa-Pelli with the Institute of Addiction Medicine. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so this is such an important topic. It affects so many people. Let's first start off with how do you define alcohol use disorder, and how is it different from what people might consider heavy drinking?
Yeah, so the primary concern is if a person starts drinking, do they have trouble controlling how much they drink? So people have an alcohol problem. The active drinking actually creates the craving to have the next drink. And over time, this impaired control can lead to a variety of physical, behavioral, and psychological problems.
All right, and let's talk about, the people that are affected. One of the statistics that kind of stands out to me is that 47% of people aren't diagnosed until a crisis. Why do you feel like so many cases are unnoticed for, longer periods of time?
Yeah, we can do a much better job of diagnosing the problem early and getting people help before it becomes a large problem. I think the biggest issue is that people often have a lot of shame associated with their drinking and feel guilty. So they don't talk to people, they don't talk to their healthcare provider about the issue. And then the other problem is I think healthcare providers need to do a better job of bringing the topic up. There are simple screening instruments that we can use to help assess if someone is drinking is a problem, and there are good effective treatments, particularly if you intervene early.
Dr. Rochapelli, I know you mentioned stigma. Obviously, it's a big topic. For those, at home wondering, has this gone too far? Is this really an addiction? What would you say? What are some things they need to look out for, meaning that I need help?
Yeah, so it's important to see what consequences is occurring around the drinking. So for some people, when they drink, they believe it helps to reduce anxiety, but they find the next day their anxiety is even higher than it was before. So people will report that they have hangovers at work, or there's impaired social relationships. The person's just not around anymore. And it's really important to keep in mind that we need to approach this with compassion and empathy, not with blaming. That people often feel guilty and shameful enough that it's important not to add to that, but to do your research, understand about the science of addiction, and help give people good, effective options.
All right, some great insight you shared with us this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Volsapelli, for staying with us.
Back here now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, live in studio at 10:45 and live out on the White House lawn is we are awaiting the arrival of the First Lady Trump, as well as potentially the President. This is their annual Easter egg roll event that is to take place. It was set for 10:30, but obviously as we are looking at 10:45, it looks like everyone now is getting ready for, everyone's sort of standing by and in position to welcome the First Lady out there. In the meantime, we're also waiting from Mission Command Center in Houston. This is a live picture right now out in space. One of the views that Mission Control in Houston gets to see, as the Artemis II crew is also about to wake up from their sleep mode. And with that, they should be communicating later on in a few minutes here with the crew on the ground for their next mission. So as we await both events, we are just enjoying the view out there. Hopefully you are enjoying your week off, and if you have the week off, and if you're not, then we thank you for joining us either way here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It's been relatively quiet today in the Carolinas. There is a partnership that's going to be announced between NC Quick Pass and Publix, as they're going to make that available and a little bit more easy to get your hands on a Quick Pass. So that press conference is happening right now, I believe, and we will play that for you here when it wraps up on Live Impact News. In the meantime, I want to go back to what we played earlier at the top of the hour. If you missed it on Friday, it was Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump talking in Jacksonville, Florida, speaking for the family who's now accusing the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office of unequal justice, let's call it that, here on Live Impact News now on WCNC Plus. We continue
with Attorney Crump and Attorney Daniels. And before it comes to your doorstep, let's do something about it. Let's be a beloved community where we can say no more JSO, no more video JSO, no more brutality JSO, no more racial profiling JSO, no more cops killing people unjustly JSO, no more JSO, no more, no more. At this time, he's been fighting these battles a lot by himself, but I'm honored to stand with my good Omega brother who, as I said, has been a tireless civil rights champion, especially here in Jacksonville, saying that we can't look away. We have to do something about this. We have to file lawsuits. We have to take depositions. We have to get discovery, because like the great Ida B. Wells said, we have to document the atrocities and the abuse. And as Ida B. Wells said, I mean, this is our legacy to live up to the courage of Ida B. Wells, the great journalist who said the killers write the police reports. They can't be the only one write the reports. We too have to document it. We have to tell what we saw for technology, because we.
All right, it looks like right now President and First Lady Trump are out there on the White House lawn with opening remarks set to take place for their annual White House Easter egg roll. Let's go ahead and listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Of our national anthem. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose runs bright and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Does he have a good voice for what? I think we're going to send him to the Met. We'll get a little commission, make a lot of money, because that man can sing. Thank you very much. Not the first time we've heard him. So today is a very special day. It's a day where we celebrate Jesus. It's a day where we celebrate religion. And it's an honor to be the President of the United States. Our country is doing so well, like it has never done before. You'll see that very shortly. And things that we've done have not been done before. We've broken every record on the stock market. We've broken every record in our military. And what about the rescue that took place yesterday? What about that? That's something that you rarely see. You know, they were giving me a briefing about that. And they said normally when you're in very hostile territory, and I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran, they're capable fighters. They're very tough people. And there are others like that. You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago. I can tell you, in fact, right now they're not too strong at all, in my opinion, but we're soon going to find out, aren't we? But when a thing like that happens, where a pilot shot down, in most instances, you're really not able to go in, because you'll go in with 200 people and lots of jet fighters and helicopters, and you really don't have a chance. They get shot down. You lose 200 in order to pick up one. It's a horrible thing, but it's very rare that you can do it. And what we did yesterday is we picked up not one, we picked up two. We kept the first one quiet, and we were able to keep it quiet for about a day, which made it a lot better. But those two pilots were incredible, brave, and we thank them. And we're going to be having a news conference today at 1 o'clock at the Oval Office, and we look forward to it. But I just want to say we have a great military. We're the greatest military, the most powerful military any place in the world. You saw what happened with Venezuela. And it's an honor. I built it on my first term, and I didn't know I was going to be using it this much in my second term, but it's my honor, and they're the greatest people on earth. Our warriors are the greatest fighters on earth, and they very much appreciate you and love you, and that's why they do it. So this is all about today. I must tell you, I came out and I expected we were going to be talking about farmers, and we love our farmers. We were going to talk about so many different products, but you know what they want to talk about? Sir, this is about eggs. Eggs. because we have the egg farmers of the entire country here, and they are unbelievable. And if you remember, when I first got elected, my first news conference with the fake news, a lot of fake news here today, but I had a news conference, and the first question, what are you going to do about eggs, sir? I said, what's wrong with eggs? I just got there. It's my second day in office at a news conference, and they were screaming at me, what am I going to do about eggs? Then I said, well, it's like, tell me what's wrong with eggs. The price was so high. It was 4 times higher than it was a year before. I said, well, that sounds like a problem. Let me think about it. And Brooke Rollins, our great Secretary of Agriculture, she got involved. We all got involved. They didn't want me, as you know, just last year, it's hard to believe, they didn't want me to order eggs for the Easter egg roll, the Easter egg hunt that we have here every year. They wanted me to use plastic. I said, I'm not using plastic. We'll get it solved. And within a short period of time, eggs came down. They came down 40%, 50%. And by the time we got there, we had so many eggs, we didn't know what to do with them. And today we have more than 40,000 eggs supplied by all of the great egg farmers that are with us. So eggs is a big thing, and it was a big thing to our great First Lady, who's here someplace. Let's see. I think this is our First Lady. What do you think of our First Lady? She's a movie star. I don't know. Do we call her First Lady or a movie star? She has the biggest movie. Can you believe this? And she deserves it. Would you like to say a couple of words to your friends? Come on.
Happy Easter Monday. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful day. We are celebrating a very special Easter egg roll this year because it's 250th birthday of this beautiful nation. Enjoy it. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks. Thank you, honey. And she worked very hard with her staff and the staff of the White House on really just making it nice. This is the nicest I've ever seen it. So this is my 5th, and I will say that it gets better every time, right? It gets better every time. You notice the fencing is all brand new. I said, you know, we could have bought used fencing and saved a lot of money. They said, this is for Easter, and this is for our egg farmers, and we're going to get new fencing. Everything's new and everything's beautiful, and the White House never looked better, and our country never looked better. So I just want to thank everybody. It's been a special period of time. 1 year ago, a little bit more, our country was dead. We had a dead country. We had an administration that didn't know what the hell they were doing. Today we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're respected by everybody, and that's the way we're going to keep it. That's the way we're going to keep it. So again, I want to thank all of the associations and the egg farmers and all of the people that are here. We think we could have 50,000 people coming all day long. It's open, and they expect between 30 and 50,000 people, so that's great. And most importantly,
I need a break away from opening remarks at the Easter egg roll at the White House as we're coming up on 11 o'clock. Charlotte Today is up next, but I'll go ahead and leave you with the lasting impressions there as they start that annual event at the White House. Have a great morning.